Hello, I'm Scott Brady with Overland Journal and Expedition Portal, and I'm here with the 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now this is the Overland model, and this one has the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6, making 290 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Now there is a lot to like about this new model. I think it is nicely designed, handsomely designed. It's kind of more evolutionary than revolutionary, but I like it. I like the upright grille. I like the heavy-duty tow hooks integrated into the bumper. These are gross vehicle weight-rated tow hooks that are easily accessible. This one's got a variable height air suspension system, which is really beneficial. It gets you up to 11 inches of ground clearance and over 30 degrees of approach angle as well, which I was just using here on the rocks. There's some other features that are really beneficial. So it's got a lot of new technology. The interior is all new design, and it's got 2 active displays. So you can have the navigation menu up right there in the middle of the dash, be using the heads-up display to drive, and then easily just dropping your eye line down to navigation. So lots of great features on the interior and the exterior of this vehicle, but let's see how it does on our trail. Okay, so we're gonna go through our pros and cons of this 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland. A few things that I really like. The design and the interior of this vehicle is just really nice. It's a wonderful vehicle for going down the road, great daily commuter, but it still has quite a bit of capability off-road. It's still a Jeep. You know, I like the fact that this 8-speed automatic has a very low first gear, so when you combine it with the 2.72 to 1 low range, you end up with a very effective overall crawl ratio. Traction control system is very good. This isn't the Trailhawk model, so it actually doesn't have the rear locking differential, electronic locking differential, but the traction control, in my mind, works as you need it to. The air suspension makes it very comfortable on the road, and it gives you up to 11 inches of ground clearance off-road. Okay, so let's talk real quick about tire clearance issues. This knuckle actually is shaped where it comes over the tire, and that creates 2 considerations. Just fitting chains on this vehicle could not only be a problem for fitment, but actually dangerous. If you were to go with traditional chains, it could easily loop around this bolt and completely stop the wheel. If you're running cables, that's less likely to happen. A loose fitting cable could easily, with centrifugal force, rise up enough to catch around this bolt head. The other issue is you have very limited opportunity for a larger diameter tire. You can maybe go +1, +2 on the diameter of the tire with this configuration. So that's a really important thing to know if you want to modify this Grand Cherokee. One of the things that you have to know about the air suspension on this Jeep is that when you go into off-road 2, I view it as a momentary consideration. So you're really only going to use that highest suspension level to clear an obstacle or to get through a very aggressive situation with large rocks where you need maximum ground clearance. And the reason for that is that the ride control is basically unsustainable for any distance. You end up with a lot of head toss. It's a very rough ride because it's right at the limits of its extension travel, and then the airbags are also highly pressurized, so you're not getting a lot of compliance out of the bags. All this beautiful technology, anytime the car needs to tell you something, it takes over the entire screen. You're just driving down the road and you have a navigation screen up, and it'll give you every little warning, every little update, and it needs to be just a little information box on the side so that it doesn't interrupt what you're working on or what you need to see in that moment. I also find that there's some clearance issues for larger tires as well, which we showed you guys in the video. So one of the main reasons why you would buy a Grand Cherokee is for driving down the highway. Think daily commute. This is a very comfortable vehicle to spend time in. And it's got a lot of new technology in this 2022 model. The motor's the same, so it's got a 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. You can also get it in the 4xe version, which I think will be a great one to consider because you can drive around in electric mode for a short distance. And it's also got plenty of power otherwise. And you can also get it with a V8, but this V6 feels totally adequate to the vehicle. It feels just appropriate for the car, 290 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque, 8-speed automatic. I do like the fact that Jeep does a good job of always putting in a very low first gear, so they take advantage of a lot of mechanical advantage, which is beneficial on-road and off, and for towing as well. When you're cruising down the road, you've got lots of tech available to you, big screens, nice touchscreen down the center console. We've got a very comfortable seat with massaging options, and it's also got cooling and heating as well. Heated steering wheel. And I really like this multi-display or multi-page display, but I have one real criticism of it. So you can have the map up and running in the main display, and it's very easy to kind of drop your eye line and see where you need to turn. But this is a major criticism. Anything that the car needs to communicate to you, it takes over the entire screen to say something oftentimes very innocuous. So you're trying to navigate and it's telling you that the suspension height changed into aero mode or went back to normal mode, or if you're using driver assist features like I am right now, where I can actually drive down the road without even touching my hands to the wheel. If I do provide a little bit of manual input, driver input, it'll actually say driver control on, it'll take over the entire screen. So I find that it's hugely distracting, and it's also a real issue when you're trying to navigate. So lots of great tech, but they need to put those innocuous warnings off to the side, make them a minor consideration. So that beeping that you're hearing right now is the vehicle saying that I need to put my hands on the wheel. So it can check pressure on the wheel, and it can also check main shaft angle. So a little bit of input from the driver lets it know that you're paying attention when you're going down the road. Overall, a very comfortable vehicle to drive. So like right now, it's telling me that assistive driving has been canceled, and right at the point where I needed to make a turn. So that can be very confusing. Otherwise, wonderful vehicle on the road.